Everyone tells you what to do and what's good for you. They don't want you to find your own answers. They want you to believe theirs.
And let me guess, you want me to believe yours?
No. I want you to stop gathering information from outside yourself and start gathering it from the inside. People are afraid of what's inside. And that's the only place they're ever gonna find what they need.
We're in a fight. Boys are doing all that you can do. Anybody can see that. Win or lose, we're gonna walk out of this stadium tonight with our heads held high. Do your best. That's all anybody can ask for.
When I was a kid, my father put me in boxing camp. Middle of summer, 90 degrees. Every day, after sparring in that, they'd make you do 100 laps and 50 pull-ups. They'd push you until you either threw up or passed out or both. Anyone could leave at any point. All you had to do was quit.
And let me guess, you didn't quit.
I quit every goddamn day. I just never said it out loud. Because no way was I going to give them the satisfaction of breaking me.
Know all that stuff that you're avoiding, all the problems you don't want to fix, the conversations you don't want to have? That is why you are not where you want to be. Everything you want is on the other side of the shit you are avoiding. The body you want is on the other side of a whole lot of days spent in the gym that you just don't want to spend. The problem isn't not knowing what to do. The problem is doing it. That is the separating factor. All the people you want to be, they are doers. You, on the other hand, you're a wanter, a wisher, a dreamer, a thinker, a talker, and those people don't get shit. So until you start doing some doing, nothing's gonna change.
You love this game. I mean, love it with your whole heart. Because if you don't, let's not even bother. Let's not open that door. They're just gonna slam it right in our face. I love this game. I live this game. And there's 1,000 other guys waiting in the wings who are obsessed with this game. Obsession's gonna be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about? Let's face it, it's you against you out there.
The chronic excuse maker. How do you stop making excuses? This is actually pretty simple. And I said it the other day, and you have to realize, you have to know, you have to accept that all your excuses are lies. They are lies, all of them. Think about the things that you tell yourself, the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road. Taking the easy road and leaving discipline behind. Think about them. You don't have time. That's a lie. You don't have support. That's a lie. And you're too tired, or you're too sore, or you're just plain not feeling it. Lies, lies, lies. And the list goes on and on and on. And it doesn't stop if you don't make it stop.
What is my life going to look like if I do not do what it is I know I need to do? And the answer is going to be frustration, disappointment, regret, and bitterness over the course of your life. So you have to understand, if you don't go do what it is that you know you're supposed to do, and you don't become what it is you know you can become, eventually you're going to come to a point in life where you're pissed off and you won't have the time back to go back and redo it.
Sometimes life can really hijack your mind. When that happens to you, you're all f***ed up. Your goals, your ambitions, everything's out the window. In life, we all go through different things. Sometimes your girlfriend or boyfriend breaks up with you. Guess what? Get the f*** over it. They no longer want you. Maybe you failed a test in school. You worked your ass off. Guess what? You failed the test. Get over it. Move past it. Learn to not let life hijack your brain. At work, you've been working your ass off for that new promotion. You don't get it, someone else does. Maybe they kiss better ass than you do. Guess what? Get over it. Life will hijack your mind if you let it. Don't allow all these things to make you a lesser person. You must own your mind. Don't let life own yours. Get after and stay hard.
Sit on your bed one day and ask yourself, what remarkably stupid things am I doing on a regular basis to absolutely screw up my life? And if you actually ask that question, but you have to want to know the answer, right? Because that's actually what asking the question means. It doesn't mean just mouthing the words. It means you have to decide that you want to know. You'll figure that's out so fast it'll make your hair curl. What would happen if you consulted yourself about the best possible outcome for you? You might get an answer.
There's a voice that guides you through life. But sometimes it's guiding you in a direction that you don't want to go. That's usually the right place to go. It's that uncomfortable place. So that voice is always talking to me, but we don't listen to it. I listen to it.
All right. I know your manager dying had you all messed up inside. But the truth is, you didn't look hungry. Now, when we fought, you had that eye of the tiger, man, the edge. And now you got to get it back. And the way to get it back is to go back to the beginning. You know what I mean? Maybe we could win it back together. Eye of the tiger, man.
You got a choice. You got talent. You got a chance, and I want to hear about your environment, what your mama didn't give. You got a chance. Use it while you're still alive. You don't know what death is. You have no idea what death is.
You must commit yourself to excellence. You must commit yourself to becoming the best. And the wonderful thing is that excellence is a journey. It's not a destination. You never get there.
The more I develop, the more I learn about myself, the more I realize how much we're burdened by the things we carry from our past. And in saying that, I mean that if you keep carrying old bricks, you'll build the same house. If you keep carrying the past with you, if you keep taking who you used to be, that anxiety of the past, that anxiety of your previous self, you'll continue to keep being that person. And I don't say that just to say that you should just let go of your past self. It's not about letting go. It's not about disregarding. It's not about getting rid. I think we need to get that out of our mentality, because in all aspects of ourselves, I don't think we get rid of anything. I think we change it. It's about renovation, not disregarding.
A warrior does not give up what he loves, Dan. He finds the love in what he does.
Look at me! Look at me. I have a metal rod in my leg.
A warrior's not about perfection, or victory, or invulnerability. He's about absolute vulnerability. That's the only true courage.
What kind of training do you think I could do? I just had an accident.
The accident is your training. Life is choice. You can choose to be a victim or anything else you'd like to be.
Just ignore what happened to me?
A warrior acts, only a fool reacts.
What if I can't do it?
That's the future. Throw it out.
Well, how would we start?
There is no starting or stopping. Only doing.
Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dake submission. Be on the watch. There are ways out. There is light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness. Be on the watch. The gods will offer you chances. Know them. Take them. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life sometimes. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you.
Trying to get to this next level without, as my brethren says, without the next level finding us. You know, it's like life is peaks and valleys. And some people think that Some people explain that as good times, bad times, but I actually think it's learning or let's say learning mastership, okay? Or study mastership. I went from the top of one mountain. I mastered something. I'd mastered something and people appreciated it. But once you're on the top of that mountain, you have to go this way. And that's what you stay stuck on top of one hill, one mountain, when, God's intention is that we study and master a bunch of different things.
I thought that being an adult was going to be easier than it is. I think I thought it was going to work like this. You work hard, you tell the truth, your aim is true, and you'll slowly build and get better and better and better. Life doesn't work on some slow, gradual ascent where every decision makes sense. It was turning into much more of a slog where sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes twisted. Sometimes what you thought was a failure turned into success. Sometimes what you thought was a success turned into a failure. Right. And we live in a society where everybody's just saying, well, are you making more money? Are you getting more success? I mean, what are you doing? And here I was having this trouble of judging where I was at in my life. And here I met this 87-year-old guy who seemed so happy. He wasn't eating himself alive with bitterness or greed or ambition or breaking his arm, patting himself on the back. And I was immediately fascinated, that he had this thing that he basically had come to feel that blind pursuit of success at his profession was detrimental to his development as a man.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but do not set a goal for 2025 if you cannot answer yes to 3 of these 5 questions. Question 1. Am I actually prepared for the guaranteed discomfort that comes with success, or am I deceiving myself? 2. Am I ready to work on this goal like it's my last chance? 3. Am I ready to cut off that stupid thing I do every day that's taking me further from this goal? 4. Am I willing to ignore distractions to make this happen? And finally, am I willing to embrace failure as part of success? So, how many yeses did you get?
There's this moment in Avatar when Uncle Iroh says,
sometimes life is like this dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place.
And that's the key. Movement. Yet most people don't embrace it. Think about it. How much time have you spent this year trying to figure things out? Cooking up the perfect strategy, gathering endless knowledge, watching tutorial after tutorial. And how much have you actually accomplished? Nothing, right? Because change does not happen through planning. It happens through action. Here's the truth. You don't need to see the whole path. You simply need to take the first step. Take action, collect data, then use that data to adjust. The more you act, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you grow. Like Iroh said, you can't always see the light, but you will find it if you keep moving. Master change by starting with action. Don't let perfection hold you back. The life you want is waiting for you. It's time to go after it.
The journey. Journey is what brings us happiness, not the destination.
Believe in yourself and don't rely on anybody to believe in you. Don't rely on anybody to push you or make you better. Believe in yourself and only yourself, and allow that human being to make you a better person.
The only way to live is know you're going to die. If you're afraid to die, you'll never be able to live.
The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Go for the discipline because it weighs ounces. The regret weighs tons because it can accumulate.
Proud of how you've been showing up lately. There's a lot on your plate, no doubt. And it might feel like you're falling behind, but you're not. You're overcoming stressful situations. You're fighting for your mental health. You're doing your best. The only thing you're falling behind on is giving yourself the credit you deserve. Because at any given moment, you're doing way better than your inner critic would like to admit.
you have a plan and you have a process, when opposition, adversity, challenges, uncertainty pops up, the problem doesn't look as big. The adversity doesn't look as big. The challenges don't look as big when you got a plan and a process in place. Now, when you don't got a plan and a process in place, adversity and opposition shows up, uncertainty shows up, problems look real big. Yeah. Adversity looks real big. You forget about the sacrifice. You forget about the long hours. You forget about the vision. You forget about the mission because you don't have a plan or process, right? The process makes you stick to whatever it is that you're doing.
How bad do you want it? We all know when we're relaxed exactly the person we want to become. The question is, do we believe we can become it? Without that belief, every journey will run into a debate. That debate is when pain starts to fill the body. You weigh the temporary pain versus a lifetime of pride.
Champions find a way to make it happen. No matter how long it takes, they find a way. Champions find a way to get through their nerves. So don't be ashamed to say you're nervous, but find a way to get over it.
Passion and a drive has to be followed by an action. That's the hardest part. People don't want to have that action. Dreams want to live just like everybody else. And if you don't bring them to life, somebody else will. And you're going to be sitting there back thinking, man, I could have, I should have, I would have. Boy, you had your chance. You got to deliver. You got to have action. You got to deliver.
Ever tried? Ever failed? No matter. Try again. Fail again. Fail better. The world is yours.
You could either do the work today to become your highest version tomorrow, or tomorrow you can feel a lifelong of regret. That's a given. The people who know that they were meant for more and didn't go for more end up with a lifelong state of regret. And the reason for that is because they didn't want to hurt the people around them, didn't want to hurt family members, but instead they gave in to the life of average just so they can blend in and not stand out. And years later, they regret not doing the things that they could have done to become a winner.
We often don't realize we're in control. We're in control of our own lives, and we can make different choices. And if the things in our life are not bringing us joy and happiness, if our career that we've devoted all of our lives to isn't bringing us joy, we can change them. If we decide our relationship is not the right relationship, we don't have to suffer in that relationship.
Stay in your comfort zone. That's where you will fail.
To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
Ask yourself, what do you really want? What do you really want? I mean, down inside, if you could have anything you want, what do you really want? Let your mind take off. You're a creative being. There's nothing on the planet that's like you.
Give me evidence that you're not qualified to go get that. Give me evidence that you're not qualified for a great life. You have none. You are ultra qualified. No one can tell us what we're capable of except us. And when we believe these truths, it's over. You're unkillable.
You have the ability to take a sledgehammer to anything in your life and remake it. Life is clay. So long as you realize that you can mold it and shape it and change it to do what you want to do.
If you knew what you were doing, then you would be stagnating because you'd be doing nothing new. And so if you're going to do something new, then that is what would be the catalyst for growth. And so you can't want to grow and also want to know everything you're doing at the same time. It's like the two beliefs contradict one another. And so I think that's a lot of the discontent that people suffer from, is they want two things that are polar opposites. They want the really strong character, they want the easy life. Like, one is the price of the other. You don't want hardship. Hardship creates growth. And so they want both, and you can't.
Use the word destiny over and over throughout the book. What does that mean to you?
It's a feeling you have that you know something about yourself nobody else does. The picture you have in your mind of what you're about will come true. That's kind of a thing you kind of have to keep to your own self, because it's a fragile feeling and you put it out there, somebody will kill it. So it's best to keep that all inside.
Revisit your dream. It doesn't cost anything to dream. And our dreams need auditing. As you go into this next year, it shouldn't just be doubling down on the same dream. Really take some time and evaluate your real purpose. D.L. Moody said, our greatest fear should not be that we fail. Our greatest fear should be that we succeed at something that doesn't matter. And so if you really believe what you're doing matters, it gives you a peace through turmoil, through difficulty, through ups and downs. If I fail in the attempt to do something that matters, I can live with that.
You do realize that this could be the year that you change your life if you just lock in? Me and you both know you didn't stick to the script last year, but it's okay though, because this year we come for everything that we lost and more. We ain't hearing the excuses no more. Your future is tied to that. You're the only one that can make it right, but you're also the only person that can mess it up. Lock in and change your life, like your life depends on it, because it do.
Understand that 2025 is right around the corner, and if you want to make the most of it, this is what you're going to do. Work on your personal craft, because it is only through a project that you are genuinely able to improve. And most importantly, take action, because you will accomplish nothing unless you go out there and will it into existence. If you're able to do all of those, I guarantee that you will have the best year of your life.
How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams?
27 grand a year.
And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy?
Good question.
I see guys who work at the same company for their entire lives, guys exactly like you. They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness. You have an opportunity. This is a rebirth.
I think having a purpose is that thing that makes us tick, that gets us up every day and gets us over the hump of opposition and adversity. And the reason that I champion adversity and opposition is because I think for the most part in life, people pretty much know what to do when things go right. Right? Like when things go right, they know how to feel, they know how to act, how to react. But it's when that opposition and that adversity comes and it creates a level of misunderstanding, right? Now the vision is blurred. Now you don't have clarity about what you're supposed to do. Now you question if your existence matters. And I think when you have a purpose, it's powerful because in the midst of the opposition, it makes you realize that you've been put here for a certain reason.
If you make yourself more than just a man, if you devote yourself to an ideal, and if they can't stop you, then you become something else entirely. Which is legend, Mr. Wayne.
This year, you can't fear change. In one of the beautiful passages in meditation, Marcus Aurelius reminds himself that everything in life comes from change, good and bad. That by trying to keep things the same, not only are you, of course, focused on something that you don't control, but you're preventing yourself from all the wonderful opportunities that exist that could come your way. We live in a time of disruption. We live in a time of institutions that are falling apart. We live in a time of innovation, new institutions that are being created. So you can't fear what's going to come of that. The Stoics would say all you could focus on this year is embracing those things, adapting yourself to change, acquiescing to that change, rather than fighting it, rather than fearing it, rather than resenting it. Because it's going to happen regardless of how you feel about it. So what you should focus on, the Stoics would say, is what you're going to do about it.
Life is hard on the good days when you expect so much of yourself, and when the bad days come around, keeping the promises feels almost impossible. I wish I could explain to you the pit in my stomach in those moments, but I'm not sure I have the right words, to be honest. Somehow I always see the other side of the promise kept, though, and the difficult part is that it doesn't provide the relief you'd hope it would. My only consolation at times is that I know I did the right thing to maintain who I am, because that is the one thing I cannot let myself lose.
One guy came over to me frustrated, always wins. Stay hard.
The year's almost over. It's been a tough year, right? But we're not going to talk about that right now. This is for making it through this tough year. There's been a lot of good and bad, but I'm happy that you've made it this far and that you're still here. Thank you for hanging in there, and I'm proud of you for staying strong.
If you wish to be the king of the jungle, it's not enough to act like a king. You must be the king. There can be no doubt, because doubt causes chaos and one's own demise.
Start something you believe in and give it everything you have. Not for the applause, not for the outcome, but because it's yours. Focus on the work. Let it consume you. Take small steps every day and watch how they compound. What feels impossible now becomes inevitable over time. Forget perfection. Forget shortcuts. Mastery lives in repetition. And the timeline for greatness is a lifetime.
And you come out the other side and you realize how much you grew through that, you start becoming grateful, right? One, you become grateful for what you just went through. You become grateful for the past experiences, but also you become grateful for when you are going through tough situations in the future, because you understand that literally the situation and the season I'm in right now is developing me in a certain way that maybe I can't see right now, but I know that if I keep showing up, keep taking it day by day, step by step, moment by moment, I'm gonna come out a better version of myself. Man, I'm grateful for that.
You messed up. But it's not the end of the world that it seems. And it's not the end of the world that those would try to make it seem. Today's a new day. Today's a new you. And so do not destroy yourself over a man that no longer exists.
Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. Build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays.
More fati, which means love of fate, and it basically means love everything that happens to you as a way of learning and as a way of toughening yourself. Life involves pain. Life involves loss. The people that you know are going to die. You're going to get ill. You're going to have terrible things happen to you. People are going to screw you. Bad things are going to happen. That is life. That's what life is about. That's what any animals had to deal with. That's what you have to deal with. If you complain and you wish things were otherwise, that means that you don't love life. You don't like life. You don't accept it. Be the opposite. Accept everything that happens and find a way to love it and see the purpose behind it.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen in life. Your parents are going to pass away, loved ones are going to die, your relationships are going to break down, your body is going to fail you. And the only way that you can prepare yourself for unchosen suffering is with chosen suffering.
It all starts with a choice. You're not here by accident. You're here because of the choices you made. Good or bad, they're yours. You can't blame circumstances. You can only own up and be accountable for your actions. If you don't like where you're at, change it. You chose this. Now choose something better.
In life, you can be so gifted, right? And so I want y'all to hear this, right? You can be so gifted, so talented. Something can serve as an advantage your whole life. If you don't personally develop, right? If you don't grow, if you don't evolve, at a certain point in your life, your advantage is going to become your disadvantage. Guarantee you. That's the importance of hard work. That's the importance of dedication. That's the importance of commitment.
This one question will change your entire fucking life. Who do I need to become? That's the question. Who do you need to become this person, to achieve this success, to hit this goal? That's the only question you need. Audit who you are. And you gotta ask yourself, what do I need to let go of, and who do I need to become this person?
You have to keep growing and evolving and trying to be the best version of yourself. And sometimes that's uncomfortable for people to see because they're not doing the same. Because it makes them feel like you're leaving them, you know? But that's just their own projections going on to you. And you don't need to take that onto yourself because you're growing. You're on your own journey. You're trying to be a better version of yourself.
He says, when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. The pursuit of personal excellence is not a solitary journey. It's a catalyst for transformative change that elevates not just you, but the entire tapestry of your existence. Striving for continual improvement is like planting seeds of positive change, fostering environments where growth becomes contagious. As we become committed to becoming the best versions of ourselves, the ripple effect extends to the world, creating a cascade of positive influence that is tangible.
What makes you uniquely you? You can't be comfortable with yourself if you don't know who yourself is. And you can't know who yourself is if you don't stop looking at how everybody around you is and start looking at what makes you comfortable and what makes you uniquely you. There's roughly close to, I guess, about 8 billion people on this planet, but there's only one you.
To look at yourself, you have to focus deep. You have to go through a process, being honest and going, what excites me? What do I feel like makes me unique? The power that you have in life is mining that uniqueness, mining that individual quality in whatever field you go into. And so you can't have that self-awareness if you can't focus, if you can't concentrate, if you can't be bored and take a notebook and start writing things out about your childhood, about who you are, about what you love and what you hate. If you can't do that, I'm sorry, but there's no hope for you. There's really no hope for you. So you have to be able to put yourself on that information diet and go into that introspective process.
You have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes. Nothing is easy.
There's a quiet kind of pain in starting over. It feels like failure,
Like all the effort, all the time, all the dreams you poured into something have been erased. Like you're back at square one, staring at the wreckage of what could have been. Starting over isn't just hard, it's humbling. It forces you to face everything you thought you'd left behind, your fears, your doubts, and the heavy weight of regret. But here's the thing. Starting over isn't the end. It's the beginning. It doesn't feel like that though, does it? When you're in it, when the dust hasn't settled, and all you can see is what you've lost, it's hard to imagine that this could be the start of something better, something stronger, something worth all the pain. And yet, that's exactly what it is. You see, life isn't linear. It's not a straight path from point A to point B. It's messy. It's filled with detours, dead ends, and moments where you have to stop, turn around, and begin again. And that's not failure. That's life. The people who never start over, the ones who cling to what's broken because they're too afraid to begin again. They're the ones who stay stuck. They're the ones who never grow, never change, never find out what's waiting for them on the other side of the storm. Starting over is an act of courage. It's standing in the ruins of what you thought your life would be and saying, this isn't where it ends. This is where it begins. It's choosing to believe that no matter how many times you've fallen, no matter how many times you've failed, you still have something left in you, something worth fighting for. And here's the truth. Starting over doesn't mean erasing everything that came before. It doesn't mean forgetting the lessons, the strength, the resilience you've built along the way. It means taking those things, those hard-earned truths, and using them as the foundation for what comes next. Because every time you start over, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. And that makes all the difference. Think about a tree that's been cut down. On the surface, it looks like the end. The trunk is gone, the branches are gone, the leaves are gone. But deep beneath the soil, the roots remain. And those roots, they're still alive, still strong, still capable of growing something new. That's you. No matter how many times life has cut you down, your roots are still there. And from those roots, you can rebuild, you can grow, you can rise. But rebuilding takes time. It takes patience. And most of all, it takes faith. Faith in yourself, faith in the process. Faith that even though you can't see the end yet, it's worth the work. And it is work. Starting over means showing up every day, even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when it feels like you're getting nowhere. It means planting the seeds of your future self, watering them with your effort, and trusting that, eventually, they'll grow. And they will grow. Because that's what life does. It grows. Even in the face of loss. Even in the face of failure. Even in the face of uncertainty. Life has a way of finding a path forward, of creating something new from the ashes of what was. And you are no different. You are life. You are growth. You are the possibility of what comes next. Starting over also requires something else. The ability to forgive yourself, to let go of the mistakes you've made, the opportunities you've missed, the times you've fallen short. You're not perfect. You never will be. And that's okay. Perfection isn't the goal. Growth is. Progress is. Becoming a little bit stronger, a little bit wiser, a little bit more yourself every day. That's the goal. So if you're standing at the edge of a new beginning, unsure of whether you have the strength to start again, let me tell you this. You do. You've already survived the worst. You've already faced the pain, the heartbreak, the loss, and you're still here. That means you're stronger than you think. That means you're capable of more than you know. And when you start again, when you take that first step, it's not going to feel monumental. It's not going to feel like a movie montage where everything suddenly falls into place. It's going to feel small, quiet, maybe even insignificant. But that first step, it's everything. Because it's proof that you're not done yet. It's proof that you're willing to try. And that willingness, that's where transformation begins. Starting over doesn't mean you failed. It means you're brave enough to keep going. It means you're willing to leave behind what no longer serves you, to let go of the life you thought you wanted so you can create the life you're meant to live. And that life, it's out there, waiting for you to take the steps, to put in the work, to believe in yourself enough to try.
If you're gonna do it,
The older you do get, the more rules are gonna try to get you to follow.
come on, do it.
We have created a fictitious ceiling, a roof, to our expectations of ourselves. Life's not easy. We're all destined to have to do the thing that we fear the most anyway.
How the money comes in, the break comes down.
You just gotta keep living, man.
Going down Broadway.
L-I-V-I-N.
It's a one-way street. Whichever way I go.
Say what you can do what you say. I think I'll try it out. No, think if you're gonna try it out beforehand, but when it's time to go, dive. Finish it, find out. Come out the other side. Don't leave it and go, if I just would that keeps me up. Half-ass something you just don't know. Whether you failed or succeeded, got what you want or didn't get what you want. Finding out, looking in the mirror and going, I didn't half-ass it, I went all the way, I found out. That's a great question. What you're about to say and do will outlive you. Do it well.
If life was nothing but green lights and we didn't have yellows and reds, things that make us pause, hardships, crises, times for introspection, then what the hell would it all be for? We need the yellows and the reds. That's how we evolve. That's how hopefully there's some ascension to our being. If anything, I would say to my 50-year-old self, go fail more. If anything, I would say to you, go fail more. Forget them. Those people on the sideline that are saying the thumbs down or calling you something or being snarky, they're on the sidelines for a reason. If you're not getting past this today, this week, this month, this year, all of a sudden a decade goes by and you're still hung up and you can't get rid of that thing, if it's holding you back from going where you want to go, maybe you should just deny the thing ever happened. Kick it in the head. Kick it off the curb. I'm done with you. I'm sick of you. I'm tired of hanging out with you. I'm tired of that thing, whatever it is, holding me back from going where I want to go.
Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. See, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though. Joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do, no matter the outcome. We like to say, no, freedom and light is the one that carries it. Man, I don't know, that's maybe too evolved for us to really grab a hold of. Rage and anger and revenge are mighty powerful emotions right here. And this is the beauty of delayed gratification. Tee yourself up, do yourself a favor, make the choices, the purchases today that pay you back tomorrow. The choices we make compounding assets of our future. You need to hold yourself more accountable. Life is not easy, it is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair, it never was, it isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. there's a responsibility to freedom and that there is freedom in responsibility.
It is just as important where we are not as it is where we are. The first step that leads to our identity in life is usually not, I know who I am. That's not the first step. The first step's usually, I know who I am not. Defining ourselves by what we are not is the first step that leads us to really knowing who we are. You know that group of friends that you hang out with? They gossip too much or kind of shady. They really aren't going to be there for you in a pinch. But how about that bar we keep going to that we always seem to have the worst hangover from? Or that computer screen that keeps giving us an excuse not to get out of the house and engage with the world and get some real human interaction. How about that food that we keep eating? That stuff that tastes so good going down, it makes us feel like crap the next week. We feel lethargic and we keep putting on weight. How about that? Well, those people, those places, those things, stop giving them your time and energy. When you quit giving them your time, you inadvertently find yourself spending more time and in more places that are healthy for you, that bring you more joy. Why? Because you just eliminated the who's, the where's, the what's, and the when's that were keeping you from your identity. I promise you, too many options will make a tyrant of us all. All right, so get rid of the excess, the wasted time. Decrease your options. If you do this, you will have accidentally, almost innocently, put in front of you what is important to you by process of elimination. It's so much easier to figure out who you're not. And if you start eliminating the who I'm not, by sheer mathematics, you end up
Mr. Monroe Wills was 94 years old. And he said, Grandpappy, he said, can you give me some advice for life? And his grandpappy says, oh yeah, Monty. Best advice I can give you is this. I've had many crises in my life. Most of them never happened.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
You're looking at her on that sky thing. Good point, because that once there's only dark. Yes, we need lights when it.
Most people fear death because they wasted their life. Too busy chasing approval, ignoring instincts, and ran out of time to be who they were. They lived for everyone else, their parents, friends, spouses, bosses, even a stranger on a screen, but they never lived for themselves. Now with their back against the wall, they realized the truth. The world never cared, and they let themselves rot for nothing. Now you can make excuses, say it was a sacrifice, but the mirror doesn't lie. So if you look in that mirror and see your reflection and ask yourself, was it worth it? And if the answer is no, then what the hell are you waiting for? Be you, and live like time owes you nothing. Because it doesn't. Do something that makes you happy.
Life is an opportunity, benefit from it. Life is a dream, realize it. Life is a challenge, meet it. Life is a duty, complete it. Life is a game, play it. Life is a struggle, accept it. The second one reads, the ultimate measure of a man
It's not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, where he stands at times of challenge and controversy.
I'm going to say something to you. You're smart, you're talented, you know a few things, but talent means nothing in this game if you don't make the right choices. There's plenty of talented people out there who never see the light of day anymore. Last thing takes discipline, because this whole game is one big long shot, and if you don't have the discipline to stay away from the flyers or from the gambles or whatever else you want to call a stupid move, then my friend, I'm afraid to say one day you will go down. It's inevitable. You want my advice? Make a list of everything you want now, and then plan on spending the next 25 years of your life getting it, slowly, piece by piece.
Those who fight with dragons for too long become dragons themselves. And those that gaze into the abyss gazes right back. All of us have a dragon's lair, a haunting, a shadow, that thing within us, or that place where we don't want to touch, and we don't want to look, and we don't want to go on that journey of figuring out, because there's a dragon in there, right? That's what everyone's telling us. And so what this quote is trying to tell us is, hey, I know you've heard all of these myths and tales, but what if you went and figured it out yourself? What if instead of gazing and being so scared that you're gonna get eaten by something or whatever, you walk into the dark and go see it for yourself? Very scary thing. Not many people would do that because Mr. Fear has lied.
But the real answer to your question is that when it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life. And that I can't do.
You have to be singular, inflexible, unyielding in your own work so that even the struggle, that very struggle to achieve, becomes its own reward. A hard, simple ability to continue is a kind of blessing. You can't do your work according to other people's values. I'm not talking about also following your dream either. I never liked the inspirational value of that phrase. Besides being sentimental, it's beside the point. Dreaming is a way of trivializing the process, the obsession that carries you through the failure as well as the successes, which could be harder to get through. I mean, if you're dreaming, you're sleeping, and it's important. It's imperative to always be awake to your feelings, your possibilities, your ambitions, and don't get hung up on the consequences, because they can be good, like awards, success, and even celebrity, and they can be bad, like no awards, no success, and no celebrity.
Things will happen to you. Things that you cannot control. A raw emotion will find you when it does. How you deal with it, what you do, will define who you are.
Did that happen to you?
Oh, it happens to all of us, whether we want it to or not.
These scars we have make us who we are. We're not meant to go back and fix them. And there's nothing broken with you that needs to be fixed. Take it from an old guy who's made a lot of mistakes. Don't live your past. Live your life. Don't let your tragedy define you.
What if it's supposed to define me? Your tragedy made you a hero.
That also made me alone.
I'm not defined by my past. My past has taught me who I am. To be able to evaluate the situation present and apply what I've learned to make the best choice. And that choice is based on character. It's based on morality, integrity, Never about financial return. Never about monetary value or tangible items. It's always been about the character, the intangible item.
Sometimes we need help to get there.
Yes. You've come a very long way. In a very short time. Well, it doesn't feel that way. But you should know that I have always taken the path that is most right.
Most right.
The result is never in question for me. Just what path do you take to get there? And there is always one that is most right. And that is what this is.
You have to be willing to sacrifice some comfort to step into what is for you. It may mean sacrificing old habits and old ways, right? This season that you're in or you're trying to step into may need you to sacrifice old habits, old ways of thinking, right? Old spaces you used to navigate. Are you willing to do that for your growth, right?
You can't avoid the peaks and valleys in life. They say you can't avoid the peaks and valleys in life. Life will always have the ups and downs, so make peace with it.
How hard are you really working? I don't know about you, but I don't encounter many people who are completely committed to their craft. In our society where it is very unpopular to have a sickening, completely committed, dedicated work ethic, it's not the norm. I believe people who think this way don't know what it's like to push yourself to the limits, don't know what it's like to work your absolute best, give everything you have, sacrifice, commit, work hard, and that feeling of growth, of progress, of even reaching a milestone in your journey. How amazing that feels.
Consistency is even rarer than talent or enthusiasm. Every January 1st in the gym, you rock up and everyone's keen to do something. They've got these New Year's resolutions. They're all enthusiastic, and some of those people will be talented. But how many of those people end up being consistent long term?
Death is not waiting behind that door right now. Every second, you are between life and death. One day, it just stays with this, then this is going to happen. So in the moment where you realize it could be my last action right now that I do, having this type of thought on the mind, it could be your last, hopefully makes you wake up to really focus on the things that are important for you. Because many things are starting to fall away when somebody tells you, look, you only have 1 more week to live. Many problems that at the moment people are caring about, they will just disappear. Then they wake up and realize this shortness of life, how precious it actually is that we are able to be here.
Live your life the way that you want to live your life. Ladies and gentlemen, as I speak to you right now, if you had 90 days to live, how many of you will make some radical changes in your life?
If you look at Nelson Mandela, if you look at Mother Teresa, if you look at Mahatma Gandhi, who died with under 10 possessions, these people were world changers. These people were radical optimists. These people suffered because the root of the word passion means to suffer. They suffered for their dream. They suffered for their values. They suffered for their cause. They suffered for their followers. They suffered for their greatness.
Game of life are people are going to hit you, they're going to claw you, they're going to scratch you, they're going to bite you. It's just the part of life. And instead of taking everything personally, you have to see that it's like a gladiator battle, and that some people are bad, some people are good, some people are not, are in between. But stop taking everything personally and try to learn from it. So if you make a mistake, what you want to do, if you have failure in life, something didn't go right, you want to have the ability to look inward and say, what did I do wrong? And a lot of people don't have that inner strength. But if you want to be successful, if you want to get ahead in this world, you have to develop the skill. You have to be able to look at yourself as if you were somebody else, as if from the outside, and say, here's how I could improve. Here's what I did wrong the last time I did it.
Great life is in front of you. It's not behind you. What you did back there was learn the lessons to get you to where you are at this particular moment right here. Do you know, man, that you can actually mess your life completely up? You can jack it all the way up, and you can turn around and get it right.
What type of reality are you even living? What type of reality are you living? Are you living a proactive reality where you're continually problem solving and looking at all of the different ways that you could manipulate, guide, or push your reality that you want in your favor? Or are you living a reactive reality where you just continually allow what is going to happen? Well, I can tell you right now, if you live in a reactive reality, you need to stop. Because if you really want to live the life of your dreams, you have got to start living a proactive reality.
So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. You got to start walking because the perspective's not going to change. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. And that's going to be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen.
Everything that you are, everything that you're becoming is a resilient pad of growth. On that pad is a launch. That's where you take off. That's where you find out what you're really made of. It's not about waiting until the end and one day you'll go after it. Make today day one. Today is the day that I decided I wanted to be great, so I'm going to do it. I decided I want to go after my goals, after my dreams. That's the mindset that you have to have. Because today is the day you were given breath. I'm here with a purpose and live on purpose. Not off of your resume of where you've been, but on the direction and understanding of where you're going. There's a call on you. It's time for you to answer it.
Taking responsibility doesn't mean you blame yourself. It means you become accountable for everything that happened. Because it's the only way to improve. It's the only way to see real progress. If you're constantly blaming something else for your circumstances, it means you're giving up the opportunity to be in control. It might not be your fault, but it's your job to make the most of every situation and do the best with what you have. So do it. Take responsibility for all of it, because that's when things start to get good.
There's a weight to being alone that few people talk about. Solitude can feel like a void, like silence pressing in from all sides, magnifying every thought, every doubt, every piece of yourself you've been trying to outrun. It can feel like the world has forgotten you, like no one sees you, like you've been left behind while everyone else moves forward. But here's the thing about solitude. It's not a punishment. It's a crucible. Most people fear being alone. They fill their lives with distractions, with noise, with people who barely see them, because the thought of sitting with themselves is unbearable. But solitude forces you to face yourself. It strips away the masks, the performances, the external validation. It takes everything you thought you needed, the attention, the applause, the company, and asks, who are you without it? Who are you when it's just you? And that's where the strength is. That's where the growth is. Because when you're alone, there's no one to impress, no one to hide behind, no one to tell you who you're supposed to be. It's just you, raw, unfiltered, and real. And in that space, in that silence, you find the truth about yourself. The truth is, solitude doesn't weaken you, it sharpens you. It's in the quiet moments, the ones where you feel like no one is watching, that you discover who you really are. You learn what you value, what you stand for, what you're capable of. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's hard. But strength isn't built in comfort. It's built in the moments when you're forced to carry your own weight, when there's no one to lean on, no one to rely on but yourself. Think about a tree standing alone in an open field. It doesn't have the shelter of a forest to protect it. It's exposed to every storm, every gust of wind, every blazing sun. And yet because of that, its roots grow deeper, its trunk grows stronger, its resilience is unmatched. That's what solitude does to you. It makes you unshakable. But here's the thing about solitude. It's not just about enduring it. It's about using it. It's about turning it into a forge where you can shape yourself into something stronger, something wiser, something whole. Because when you're alone, you're free. Free from the noise of the world, free from the expectations of others, free to ask yourself, what do I want? Who do I want to be? And the answers to those questions, they're not easy. They don't come all at once. But in solitude, you have the time and the space to find them, to explore the parts of yourself you've been too busy to face, to confront the fears, the insecurities, the wounds that you've been carrying. And through that confrontation, through that process of sitting with yourself, you begin to heal. You begin to grow. Solitude isn't just about being alone. It's about becoming whole. It's about learning that your worth doesn't come from the people around you, the validation they give you, or the way they make you feel. Your worth comes from within. It comes from knowing who you are, from standing on your own 2 feet, from realizing that you're enough, just as you are. But let's be real. It's not easy. There will be days when the silence feels deafening. Days when you crave connection so desperately that you'd give anything to fill the emptiness. And in those moments, it's tempting to reach for anything, any distraction, any temporary comfort, to make the loneliness go away. But don't. Don't fill the silence just for the sake of avoiding it. Sit with it. Let it teach you. Let it strengthen you. Because solitude is a teacher, and its lessons are powerful. It teaches you resilience, how to keep moving, even when no one is cheering you on. It teaches you clarity, how to separate what matters from what doesn't, how to hear your own voice in a world full of noise. And most of all, it teaches you self-reliance, the kind of strength that doesn't depend on anyone else, the kind of strength that no one can take away from you. When you embrace solitude, you discover something incredible. You don't need anyone else to complete you. You don't need external validation to feel whole. You don't need the approval of others to know your worth. And that realization, that's freedom. That's power. And here's the irony. When you've embraced solitude, when you've found strength in it, you're no longer afraid of being alone. You don't cling to people out of fear. You don't settle for less than you deserve, just to avoid the silence. Instead, you choose the people in your life with intention. You surround yourself with those who add to your peace, not those who disrupt it. And that's when connection becomes meaningful. Not something you need to survive, but something that enhances an already full and complete life.